in the stories we tell. If you liked the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. I had poured my heart and soul into the imperial harem, struggling laboriously to reach the position of noble consort, only to be forced to drink a cup of poisoned wine by the empress in the end. When I opened my eyes again, I had become the concubine, born daughter of the Lin family. Elara Lin, my father, Lin Yeqing, is a 5th-rank military general. To facilitate his daily training duties at the northern barracks, he settled our family in Tong County, over 100 li from the capital. Today was the day my fiancé, Aiden Fu, was returning to the county. From early morning, my elder sister, Cassian Lin, grasped my hand, chattering incessantly. Aiden Fu passed as the Tanhua Lang. Oh heavens, the Tanhua Lang! Ellie, you are so lucky. Back then, he was just a poor scholar. Mother even considered canceling the engagement. I never expected you to have such foresight. The young girl couldn't hide her thoughts, the envy and jealousy were plain on her face. Just hearing these few sentences, I immediately understood my current situation. Our imperial court values scholars and looks down on warriors. The status of a 5th-rank military general in court isn't even comparable to a 7th-rank official with actual power. My family background is average, and I am merely a concubine's daughter. Aiden Fu was the best match I could possibly reach for. And yet, my stepmother's mother had previously tried to sabotage this engagement. This was a familiar tactic in the inner courtyard. No main wife ever wants to see a concubine's daughter marry well and rise above her station. My expression gradually turned cold. I lifted my gaze and glanced faintly at Cassian. A poor scholar. Sister, didn't you used to dislike Aiden? Cassian blushed, awkwardly pulling her hand back. It's not that I disliked him. It's just, he's an orphan, and his family was so poor. I just didn't want he to suffer. Seeing her pale cheeks flush crimson, an alarm bell rang in my heart. Cassian was acting shy. Could it be that she also had feelings for Aiden? That's right, passing in the first class of the imperial examination meant he could enter the Hanlin Academy. And if one doesn't enter the Hanlin, one cannot step into the Grand Secretariat. The current high-ranking officials in court all came from the Hanlin Academy. Aiden's status now was truly noble, far beyond what the Lin family, with its 5th-rank military general, could compare to. It was understandable that Cassian's heart was moved. Could it be that this engagement was about to change? No, I must find a way to leave this small county and return to the center of power in the capital. Aiden was my best stepping stone. I suppressed the unease in my heart, smiled, and took Cassian's hand. It's all right. I know you've always looked out for me. It's just that Aiden and I share deep affections. Regardless of his family's situation, I have never looked down on him. This statement served both to declare my ownership and to showcase our profound love, a clear signal for her to back down. Sure enough, Cassian's expression became even more unsightly. Ellie, you are truly good to him. Young mistress, young Master Fu has arrived. A young maid ran over, panting. A look of clear delight appeared on Cassian's face, and she grabbed my hand, pulling me straight ahead. Hurry, let's go to the front hall and see. Let's see if he looks any different now that he's the Tanhua Lang. How could a young lady from a noble house run so fast? Cassian was strong and her steps were quick, dragging me along like a kite. By the time we reached the front hall, my hair was completely disheveled, while she remained perfectly composed. My heart instantly turned cold. Humph, what a clever trick. She clearly did that on purpose to make me look messy and reduce Aiden's good impression of me. I pushed Cassian's hand away and, spotting a large water vat under the corridor, I hurried over, using the reflection on the water's surface to fix my hair. Vivi, he is clearly my fiancé. Why do you seem even more anxious to see him than I am? I sneered, but Cassian didn't reply. You know, I've always been impatient. Cassian ran excitedly into the front hall. Father. Mother, damn it. The first person Aiden should see is me. I quickly sped up, following closely behind her. In the hall, a man was standing, dressed in a dark blue robe, bowing respectfully to my father. Hearing the noise, he looked up, and his eyes met mine in mid-air. Even though I was accustomed to seeing the beauties of the imperial harem, I couldn't help but inwardly praise him. What a handsome young man. Ellie. Aiden smiled on and greeted me, his voice as clear and gentle as a spring breeze in March. I had just begun to curve my lips into a smile when he turned his head to look at Cassian. Vivi is here too. Vivi. He called my sister by her intimate name. That wasn't appropriate. I looked suspiciously between the two of them. Since everyone is here, I will be direct. Honored father-in-law, as soon as I set foot in Tong County, the county magistrate congratulated me. asking if I was returning to marry Vivi. My father smiled and listened. Mother also squinted at Aiden, full of joy. Haha, look at this child. He's so happy he's mixed up the names. How could it be marrying Vivi? It's supposed to be Ellie. Aiden's lips twitched slightly, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. I am the Honorable Tanhua Lang. When outsiders speak of my marriage to the Lin family, it must naturally be to the legitimate daughter. How could it be Ellie? She is merely the daughter of a concubine. How could she be worthy of me? Honored father-in-law, I have brought the engagement contract. The county Yamen has already made arrangements. We will simply change Ellie's name to Vivi's. Outsiders won't know the difference, and it will preserve the dignity of both our families. As his words fell, everyone was stunned. The Lin family stared, wide-eyed, at Aiden. My face turned pale, my heart sinking straight to the depths. Aiden had indeed calculated everything perfectly. If this succeeded, the Lin family's parents would naturally be overjoyed, eager to give this wonderful marriage to their own legitimate daughter. As for me, to silence me, Mother would surely find some remote place to marry me off. Would I ever have a chance to return to the capital in this lifetime? Don't panic. Be calm, be very calm. I had started as a palace maid and clawed my way up to the rank of noble consort. What was this scene compared to that? The key was still Aiden. I had to win his heart in the next few days. At worst, I would become his concubine. Defeating Cassian later wouldn't be difficult. Thinking this, tears welled up in my eyes as I looked at Aiden with grievance. Aiden. After all our years of affection, I took a step forward, grabbing Aiden's sleeve. A single, glistening tear rolled down my cheek, landing on the back of his hand. Aiden's pupils contracted instantly. It was all perfect. His heart was moved. I was just about to press my advantage when a flash of pink blurred past my peripheral vision. A sharp slap landed forcefully on Aiden's face. Reputation, my foot. The reputation of your mother. What was happening? What was Cassian doing? I stepped back, stunned, and turned to look at my father, who was still seated in the grand chair. The next moment, my eyes widened in terror. I saw my father suddenly leap up from his chair, launching a flying kick straight into Aiden, sending him tumbling to the ground. What kind of animal are you? Are you insane? You dare to break off the engagement with my Ellie, and you even demand Vivi too. Do you think the daughters of the Lin family are cabbages for you to just pick over? Mother also rushed forward, grabbing my arm tightly. Before I could react, she pulled me into a tight embrace, squeezing me so hard I almost suffocated. Oh, my poor Ellie. Why did you have to meet such an ungrateful monster? My poor daughter. Beside me, Cassian's eyes were red as she charged forward. She crouched down, grabbed Aiden's official hat, and began slapping him repeatedly across the face. We are blood sisters. You are my brother-in-law. How dare you flirt with me right in front of Ellie, and then demand I marry you? What the hell do you think you are? Is there something wrong with your head? You cheated on the exam to become Tanhua Lang, didn't you? Father also rushed over, kicking Aiden's stomach repeatedly. Better to die than be humiliated. You were a penniless scholar. The money for your travels to the exam was given by our family. Now you've succeeded, and you dare to humiliate Ellie, humiliate Vivi, and humiliate my entire family. I'll fight you to the death. Mother was still holding me tightly, wailing tragically. I told you those pale-faced scholars are unreliable. If I had known this, I should have cancelled the engagement from the start. Without our family's help, how could that pale face have had the chance to become Tanhua Lang? I would rather you resent me than see you heartbroken like this, my poor daughter. Her voice was so loud it made my ears ring, and I stood there, utterly dumbfounded. Who am I? Where am I? What is everyone doing? I have lived for nearly 30 years and experienced all sorts of bizarre situations, but I never could have imagined a scene like today's. Aiden also seemed stunned, curling up on the ground, wailing desperately. Help! The Lin family is assaulting and murdering someone. It was only then that I snapped back to reality. I immediately pushed Mother's hands away and rushed toward them. Father. Sister. Stop hitting him. You're going to beat him to death. I grabbed Cassian's arm, pulling her back. Her eyes were even redder. Ellie, he treated you like that, and you're still defending him. That's right, daughter. Two-legged frogs are hard to find, but two-legged men are everywhere. Tomorrow, Father will go to the barracks and pick one out for you. I was so anxious I stamped my foot. I'm not defending him. But he is a Tanhua Lang. If he's beaten to death in our house, aren't you afraid of bringing disaster upon us? Oh, so Ellie is worried about us? Cassian immediately beamed with a radiant smile, but her hands didn't stop. She landed 2 more slaps on Aiden's face, before finally letting my pull stand her up. Father burst out laughing. Ellie's all grown up, she knows how to worry about her father now. Don't worry, my child, I know how to control my strength. I only hit places that hurt but won't show external marks. It's not enough to truly damage his bones. Both father and daughter finally relented. I carefully observed Aiden. His clothes were disheveled. His hair was a mess from Cassian pulling it, and his face was covered in handprints, but he still had energy. He clearly wasn't seriously injured. Can you still move? I asked, still worried. Aiden blinked, and a tear of grievance actually rolled down his cheek. He scrambled to his feet, shouting angrily, I don't need your fake kindness. Your Lin family bullies people too much. I'm going to the county Yamen immediately to beat the drum and report this injustice. I'm also going to write a memorial to the capital to impeach all of you. Mo Shang, prepare the horses. Aiden's gaze swept the front hall, and his face suddenly turned pale. Where is Mo Shang? What have you done to him? Mo Shang was Aiden's attendant. Seeing the situation go south, he had already taken the opportunity to flee. After hearing the explanation from a nearby servant, father exploded. What kind of work do you people do? You couldn't even watch one person. Everyone bowed their heads in shame. Sorry, master. We were too busy watching the excitement. That's right, I was wondering how someone managed to slip out from right under my arm. Suddenly, a clamor of voices erupted from outside. I turned my head to look. I was horrified. Outside, a dense crowd of people, attendants, maids, was packed together like a sea of heads. One short maid was even sitting on someone else's shoulders, craning her neck to see inside. Are these servants? This looks more like a street circus. How can this household be this chaotic? While I was still reeling, father had already made his move, leaping up again. Bah! You dare talk about suing. You're the one who broke the contract and turned your back on us. I'm the one who should go to the Yamen and accuse you of annulling the engagement. Yes, let's sue him first. Father, you are truly farsighted. Ellie, what are you standing there for? Let's go. We have to get to the Yamen before that attendant does. Cassian spoke like a rapid fire cannon, then grabbed my hand and took off like the wind. I'm not exaggerating, there were several times my toes barely touched the ground as she literally dragged me along. We finally stumbled to the main gate. My chest felt like it was being stabbed with needles, my vision was blurry, and my ears were ringing. I grabbed the doorpost with one hand, just trying to catch my breath, when I suddenly felt my waist tighten, and my entire body was lifted off the ground. I was so frightened I let out a piercing shriek. Decades of cultivated composure vanished in an instant. Ellie, sit tight and hold onto my waist. Cassian had grabbed me by the belt, hoisted me onto a horse, and yanked the reins. The horse shot forward like an arrow released from a bow. My body was thrown backward, and I frantically grabbed onto her waist. The scenery on both sides blurred past, the wind slapped my face, and my mind was a total mess. This isn't right. What is going on? What exactly is the Lin family doing? Such a good engagement, and they just break it off like that. Not only that, they beat him up, ensuring the relationship is completely fractured. Aiden will soon be taking up his post in the capital. He only needs to say a few words at the Hanlin Academy, trip up my father, and father can forget about any promotions for the rest of his life. What are they plotting? Could it be that Cassian already has a better marriage prospect, and this deliberate confrontation with Aiden is also meant to cut off my path forward? But given the Lin family's background, what better marriage prospect could there be than Aiden? I entered the palace at 13. I fought for 17 years, step by step, to the position of noble consort. I always considered myself intelligent. But this time, I truly cannot see through the Lin family's actions. While these thoughts were still swirling in my head, the pair of stone lions in front of the county yamen appeared before my eyes. Cassian leaped off the horse and ran straight to beat the drum of injustice. Tong County is not far from the capital and is near the northern barracks, where tens of thousands of soldiers are stationed, so public order has always been excellent. As soon as the drum rang out, a voice called from within. Who is beating the drum outside the court? Cassian pulled me straight into the yamen, her face filled with indignation. I want to file a complaint against this year's Tanhua Lang. Aiden, he is treacherous and ungrateful. Does he think passing an exam turns him into a phoenix? He even said he wanted to marry me. Bah, what a pipe dream. What does he take our Lin family for? The county magistrate, who had been sitting solemnly to handle official business, widened his eyes when he heard the words, Tanhua Lang. Hearing Cassian's chaotic account only made his head spin. Young lady, you are from the Lin family. You just said Master Fu wants to marry you. Isn't that correct? He returned to the county precisely for the wedding. How has this become treacherous and ungrateful? He's not supposed to marry me, he's supposed to marry my sister. The one engaged to him is my sister. Now he's backing out and demanding to marry me instead. Oh heavens! Does he think my sister and I are goods at the market? That he can just pick whichever one he wants? What kind of person is he? While Cassian was still shouting insults, the sound of hooves echoed outside the Yemen. Father had also arrived. The father-daughter pair stood with their hands on their hips in the middle of the courtroom, cursing Aiden until he sounded worse than the infamous Chen Shimi. The sides were already packed with townspeople, all pointing and whispering. I was so embarrassed I wished the ground would swallow me whole. I quickly used my sleeve to cover my face, keeping my head bowed low. General Lin, in this subordinate's opinion, the Tanhua Lang marrying the concubine-born daughter. Magistrate Chen tried to cut my father off, but right at that moment, a desperate wail echoed from the distance. Magistrate, help! My young master is about to die. He's been beaten half to death by the Lin family. Mo Xiang came tumbling and crawling straight into the courtroom, finally collapsing onto the tile floor, weeping uncontrollably. As soon as he looked up and saw the three of us standing there, he gasped. Why are you all here? The young master. Where is my young master? Could it be, heavens, you are a bunch of insane, inhuman monsters. Mo Xiang slapped his thighs while wailing. Magistrate Chen faltered for a moment, then his expression hardened. This is outrageous. He slammed his hand on the desk, his beard trembling. My district has struggled to produce a first-class scholar. If anything happens to him, how will this official answer to the prefect? Lin Yeqing, you are truly unrepentant. The villain dares to sue the victim first. Guards, go to the Lin Manor and bring Master Fu here. My heart tightened. Magistrate Chen was clearly prejudiced against father. He hadn't even distinguished right from wrong before rushing to place the blame. It seemed today's incident would not be resolved easily. True enough, when Aiden arrived, Magistrate Chen immediately stood up to welcome him. Master Fu, oh heavens! How did you end up in this state? After speaking, he turned to glare at my father. Lin Yeqing, daring to assault an official of the court. You have audacious nerve. Aiden gave a bitter smile, which pulled at the wound on his lip, causing him to hiss in pain. Tears filled his eyes. He grasped the magistrate's hand, his voice choked with emotion. Magistrate Chen, I have embarrassed myself in front of you today. After all, I did once have an engagement with the Lin family. I do not wish to pursue this matter any further. Let's just let it be. The Tanhua Lang is so gentle. That's right. The Lin family treated him so badly, yet he still says to let it go. He doesn't seem like a heartless person. The women in the crowd, seeing Aiden's pitiful yet tolerant demeanor, immediately softened. Public sentiment tilted completely in his favor. Cassian suddenly rushed toward the railing at the side, gripping it with both hands and shouting, Is there something wrong with your heads? The Lin family bullying him. It's clearly him bullying us. Do you people have no brains? The women who had just spoken flinched and stepped back, not daring to say another word. The surrounding crowd began to murmur. The Lin family's eldest miss is a bit crude, but her words aren't wrong. Even if he is the Tanhua Lang, he can't just annul an engagement without reason. That's right. The Lin family's second miss has always been so gentle. If he annuls the engagement like this, what reputation will she have left to discuss marriage? It's not uncommon for men to despise a concubine's daughter once they have a bright future. The murmuring wouldn't stop, and nearly all of it was now criticizing Aiden. He just stood there stunned, his face alternating between green and pale. Guards, remove these irrelevant people from the court. Master Fu, please come inside to speak. Magistrate Chen, seeing the situation turning against Aiden, wanted to disperse the crowd. But Aiden raised a hand to stop him. He gritted his teeth and glanced at me, his face etched with pain, as if he had just made a very difficult decision. They say one should not air their family's dirty laundry in public. I originally did not want to speak of this matter in a crowded place. Even if it meant taking a beating, I would have accepted it. But I never imagined the Lin family would drag this all the way to the Yemen. Magistrate Chen, you are also aware that the official letters from the Hanlin Academy have not yet been issued. The reputation of us first-class scholars cannot be stained, not even slightly. Aiden suddenly took several steps forward, stopping right in front of me. Alara Lin, why do I want to annul this engagement? You know the reason better than anyone. Your affair with that other man. Did you truly think I knew nothing about it? As soon as he finished speaking, the entire courtroom erupted. My father and Cassian were also stunned, gaping at Aiden, completely speechless. Aiden clenched his jaw, his face filled with humiliation and fury. Even though you were unfaithful to me, I was still thinking of the Lin family's honor and didn't want to expose it. I only wanted to marry Cassian to cover up the whole affair. And yet, what do? You curse me, you beat me, and you drag this matter to the public court. Lin family, you are trying so hard to force me to marry you. What unspeakable conspiracy are you trying to hide? After saying this, Aiden deliberately shot a meaningful glance at my stomach. My goodness, what a grand performance. That's right, if you put it that way, the Lin family's actions finally make sense. I was so confused. Marrying either daughter to the Tanhua Lang should be a glorious occasion. Why would Ye so savagely? Yes, they're trying to force Master Fu to be the scapegoat. But who is this man the second miss was secretly meeting? The crowd was in an uproar. Cassian was so furious that veins bulged on her forehead. She let out a roar and charged straight at Aiden. You're spouting nonsense. I'll tear your filthy mouth off. You beast. You ungrateful wretch. You dare slander my Ellie. I will kill you. Father also lunged forward. The Yemen bailiffs scrambled to intervene, forming a human shield to protect Aiden in the center. Aiden's face was full of resentment and tragic sorrow. The Lin family is powerful. Are you trying to murder me in front of everyone to silence me? Aiden was truly a master actor. If I did not carry the memories of my previous life, I fear even I would have believed him. After calming myself, all the blood rushed to my head, as expected of the Tanhua Lang. With one move, he turned passive into active, completely reversing black and white. It was truly exquisite. I still couldn't see through the Lin family's actions, but that could wait. But Aiden, he was clearly trying to push me to my death for the sake of his own future. A fighting spirit ignited within me, and my senses sharpened. My face instantly turned deathly pale, my eyes filled with shocked, bewildered disbelief. My lips trembled, and after a long moment, I spoke in a choked voice. What man? Aiden, what are you saying? I don't understand a single word. Could it be that something happened in the capital? Oh, Aiden, I'm all right. Your future must come first. If you have some unspoken hardship, if you absolutely must do this to save yourself, I will not blame you. You know, no matter how you treat me, I will always be willing. As I said this, I gazed at him with an expression of profound, devoted love. Tears rolled down my cheeks like a broken string of pearls. The surrounding crowd began to murmur in sympathy. Oh, I'm so confused now. The Lin family's second miss has always been known for her virtue. I don't think she seems like the kind of person who would do such a thing. I agree. Look at her. How could she be faking that? I think the Tanhua Lang is the one with the problem. Just as the tide of public opinion was turning decisively in my favor, a loud roar erupted. My father suddenly snatched the staff from a bailiff's hand, crouched low, and swung it forcefully in a wide circle around him. The sweep sent everyone in the immediate vicinity scattering, and even Aiden was knocked off his feet. Seizing the chaotic moment, Cassian leaped into the air, landing directly on Aiden and pinning him to the ground with one foot planted firmly on his back. She rained down punches, screaming as she hit him. This is for bullying my sister. This is for slandering my sister. You just die for me. Their coordination was so practiced that one glance told you they had used this exact move no fewer than 10 times. I stood there, completely dumbfounded, having entirely forgotten what my next move was supposed to be. Beside me, Magistrate's face was crimson with rage. Stop this. Lin Yeqing, you dare cause a riot in my courtroom. What audacious nerve. The crowd also began to show their displeasure. That's right, why does the Lin family keep hitting people? Exactly, they are clearly trying to silence Master Fu, afraid he'll reveal more secrets. I'm starting to think Miss really is guilty. The Lin family is just too arrogant. The hearts of the people always lean toward the underdog. A moment ago and I cried, everyone saw my weakness and sided with me. But now, seeing Aiden beaten so pitifully, their compassion immediately shifted to him. The direction of public opinion had completely reversed. My meticulous performance just now was all for nothing. Magistrate Chen was stamping his feet in fury. Father and Cassian were a team, one tangled with the bailiffs, while the other seized the opportunity to keep hitting Aiden. The townspeople were shouting and trying to intervene. The courtroom was as chaotic as a boiling pot. This messy scene dragged on for a long time, until Magistrate Chen finally ordered his men to clear all the spectators out and sent someone to the northern barracks to summon my father's superior officer. Only then did the situation temporarily quiet down. The person summoned today was the commandant of the northern garrison, Victor Wei. He appeared to be in his early 20s, dressed in full armor, carrying a long sword. His eyes were bright, and his entire being emanated a cold, murderous aura. He held the post of a third-rank military official. His father was a first-rank duke and his mother was the Empress Dowager's niece. His background was entirely of the highest nobility. The moment my father saw him, he immediately became docile. After offering a salute, he stood off to the side with his head bowed. Victor asked a few brief questions to understand the situation, then turned his cold gaze on Aiden. "You wish to annul your engagement with the Lin family?" Aiden shook his head with a bitter smile. "Commandant, annul isn't quite right. I only wished to change the engagement to Cassian Lin. But now that things have become such a mess, I absolutely do not dare to continue with this marriage. Be it Ilara Lin or Cassian Lin, I want nothing more to do with the Lin family." Cassin, standing nearby, stamped her foot. "Bah! As if it's your place to annul it. If there's any annulling to be done, it's our Lin family doing it. We wouldn't want an ungrateful wretch like you anyway." Bring me the engagement contracts." Both families presented the documents. Victor sat firmly in his chair, glanced over both contracts, and then casually tore them to shreds. He tossed his hand, and the red paper scraps scattered to the floor like fallen petals. "The marriage engagement ends here." Victor dusted off his hands and prepared to leave. Aiden panicked. "Commandant Wei, look at what they've done to me. This matter." Victor's steps halted. He looked down at Aiden with an arrogant, cold gaze, his eyes like sharp blades. "You have not yet been instated at the Hanlin Academy. Currently, you are just a common citizen. You were beaten, so what? Do you have an objection?" Aiden was instantly choked off, stammering, unable to speak, completely suppressed by his imposing aura. Victor then turned to look at me, his voice barely concealing his impatience. I curtsied and was just about to open my mouth, when my father suddenly yanked me back. No objection." "Shimph." Victor gave a short huff, then led his contingent of soldiers away, arriving and departing as swiftly as the wind. Only after they were long gone did Aiden seem to let out a heavy breath, sagging in relief. He spat heavily on the ground. "This matter between me and your Lin family is not over." Cassian merely pretended to raise her hand. And Aiden immediately cringed in fear, covering his head and scrambling out of the Yamen through the back exit. Cassian was extremely smug. "See, Commandant Wei is still on our side." But I couldn't bring myself to smile. "Father, why did you stop me from speaking just now? Aiden slandered my reputation. Are we just going to let it go like that?" Father waved his hand dismissively, his expression still showing lingering fear. "Ellie, you don't understand Victor. He is a cold-faced king of hell. His methods are ruthless and cruel. If you had insisted on dragging out that matter in front of him, given his temperament, there was a high chance he would have forced Aiden to name the supposed lover, then sent his soldiers to search your private courtyard. He might have even shackled you both and interrogated you. It's better to drop this. Aiden has no real evidence, and those rumors outside are nothing to be afraid of. In the future, Father will find you a much better marriage." I could only laugh coldly in my heart. Nothing to be afraid of. Throughout history, the simplest way to ruin a woman is to destroy her reputation. A single, baseless accusation is a bloodless murder. Once a rumor starts to spread, no matter how you try to defend yourself later, there will always be those who stubbornly believe it. It spreads from one mouth to 10, then to 100, and my reputation will be considered completely destroyed. This entire affair should have been handled within the family, yet it was dragged into a public courtroom. In the end, everyone else is perfectly fine, and I am the only one who has suffered a loss. Was this truly just a coincidence? Are my father and sister just outwardly crude and reckless, or is there a sophisticated calculation hidden beneath that roughness, wanting to use this opportunity to completely sever my future prospects? My mind was in turmoil. All the way back, I silently observed both of their expressions. The father and daughter cursed Aiden from the street all the way home. The moment they stepped through the door, Mother joined them. The three of them huddled together and unleashed a storm of curses. My ears were ringing from the noise. I could only stand up and return to my own courtyard to rest. It is currently the 10th year of the Yongli reign. 3 full years have passed since the day I died. Without Aiden, and with my current status as a lowly concubine, born daughter, how can I ever return to the capital? How can I find the Empress and take my revenge? My heart was heavy with these thoughts. I couldn't eat and couldn't sleep. Seeing me like this, Cassian grew anxious and insisted on dragging me out for a walk to clear my head. We went to Qingping Street, the most bustling street in Tong County. It was crowded with people coming and going. The moment they saw me, they began to whisper and point. That's the Lin family's second miss. I heard she cheated on the Tanhualang, absolutely shameless. My heart clenched. I quickly turned to look at Cassian's expression. The rumors about me were rampant right now, yet she deliberately dragged me out onto the street. Was she deliberately trying to make me suffer public humiliation and lose all my dignity? Cassian gritted her teeth. Without a word, she charged forward and grabbed the sleeve of the woman who had just made the malicious comment. Our Lin family lost a jade bracelet a few days ago. Was it you who stole it? The blunt accusation startled the woman. Why would it be me? Why would I steal your bracelet? That's absurd. Cassian sneered. And why not you? If you didn't sneak into our house, how would you know, about the affair between my sister and that man? Were you hiding under the bed eavesdropping? Come with me to the Yamen. I'll have the constables search your house immediately. The woman struggled desperately. I've never been to your house. I didn't hear anything. This is a false accusation. I only heard what other people were saying. It has nothing to do with me. But Cassian was as strong as an ox, gripping the woman's arm tightly. A crowd gathered to watch the spectacle, and the woman, overcome with shame and fear, burst into tears. Let go. I was just spouting nonsense. I was just talking. Cassian laughed coldly. We weren't even afraid to beat the Tanhualang, let alone you. Aiden tried to slander our family's reputation, and we beat him half to death. Did he dare to say a single word in protest? Isn't that because he has a guilty conscience? As for the rest of you gossips, if you dare spread any more baseless slander, I will drag you straight to the Yamen. After speaking, she finally let go. The woman covered her face and fled. For the rest of the day, Cassian rampaged through the streets. If anyone dared to whisper the rumors, she immediately charged over to confront them, grabbing their collars and threatening to haul them off to the Yamen. Seeing my stunned expression, she would pat my shoulder and declare loudly, "We've done nothing wrong. Why should we be afraid of them?" After several days of this rampage, the gossip around town truly did lessen by more than half. I had to admit, her method was highly effective. A person needs their reputation just as a tree needs its bark. I had never in my life seen a woman so willing to completely abandon her own dignity. But this only made me more suspicious. For a legitimate daughter like her to protect a concubine, born daughter, like me, charging into the streets like a madwoman, completely disregarding her own reputation. What was the reason for all this? What other reason could there be? We are blood sisters. Cassian flopped onto my bed, hugging my blanket as she spoke. Before your mother passed away, I promised her I would take good care of you. But my mother, she stole father from your mother. Don't you hate her? Cassian looked at me, astonished. Hate her for what? A concubine's life is already difficult. When I was born, my mother's health weakened considerably. The doctor said she might not be able to have any more children. Back then, the Lin family still had no son, so grandmother took charge and brought your mother into the manor. Your mother was originally my mother's personal maid. The decision came from grandmother, and father was the one who accepted her. She had no say in the matter. Why should I hate her for that? I fell silent. A woman's destiny has never been her own to decide. When I was 13, I was sent into the palace. No one ever asked me what I wanted. But what choice was there? To survive, one must constantly fight and scheme. If you cannot secure the emperor's favor, you have nothing at all. Cassian continued to chatter endlessly in my ear. In this world, two-legged frogs are hard to find, but two-legged men are everywhere. Don't you worry. Father and mother will definitely find someone even better for you. She prattled on all evening, and in the middle of the night, she even rolled over and stole my blanket, irritating me to no end. I turned on my side, glared at her peaceful, sleeping face, and reached out to pinch her cheek. Sister. Thinking of the scene where she flew into a rage and attacked Aiden, I couldn't help but smile. Is sisterhood truly more important than a man and a bright future? It seemed Cassian really was trying, in her own unique way, to be a good older sister. That night, I slept very soundly. The next morning, while I was still half asleep, Cassian shook me awake and tossed a elitary uniform at me. Ellie, hurry up and change. I groggily opened my eyes and stared at the men's clothing in confusion. What for? Father said he's taking us to the barracks today to pick out a general for you. See, I've always said, those pale-faced scholars are all ungrateful scoundrels. Just like Chen Shimi, our military men are better. They are straightforward and would never abandon their morals for personal gain. I told you this before, but you wouldn't listen, insisting on pouring money into Aiden. Pitying a man is the beginning of a woman's misfortune, do you understand now? Cassian continued to lecture while urging me to change. I became so irritated by her nagging that I threw the uniform aside in frustration. Isn't my reputation already bad enough? Just yesterday I was being rumored to have a secret lover, and today I'm going to the military barracks to shop for a man. What kind of message does that send? Cassian paused, then stood up, looking at me. Look at you, being so proactive and… Noticing my thunderous expression, she quickly corrected herself. I mean, look at you, refusing to be defeated by hardship. So one man didn't work out. There are thousands and thousands of other good men waiting for you. Of course, I'm not saying you need to try all 1,000. We're not that unlucky. My point is, out with the old, in with the new. As long as you actively search, you're bound to find a good one eventually. I stared at her, speechless, having no idea how to respond. What kind of nonsensical logic was this? In the capital, if a woman's engagement was broken, her own family would ridicule her for losing face. It wasn't unheard of for such women to be forced into a nunnery for life. Tong County is less than 100 li from the capital. How could the local customs be so completely different? My mind was reeling. In the end, under Cassian's relentless insistence, I finally gave in and changed into the military uniform. We disguised ourselves as our father's personal guards, riding on horseback behind him. Elora Lin's body already knew how to ride a horse, so I sat steadily in the saddle. But I was hesitant to go fast, so father, coordinating with me, intentionally slowed his pace to let me keep up. We followed the main road out of the city, heading north for about the time it takes an incense stick to burn. When we rounded a bend, the scenery before us suddenly changed. On both sides were lush, green grasslands, a vast sea of grass stretching to the very edge of my vision. From the horizon, a brilliant red sun was slowly ascending, its rosy light spread across the land, and layers of white clouds gathered and swirled in the sky. My heart swelled with a powerful emotion, and a single thought echoed in my mind. So this is how vast the sky is. Beside me, Cassian burst out laughing. Ellie, what a silly thing to say. Of course the sky is boundless. Is it? But the sky I had always seen from the palace was carved into small, square pieces, like blocks of tofu, by the towering crimson walls. I was overwhelmed with a complex tangle of emotions, not knowing how to reply. Suddenly, Cassian yanked her reins, guiding her horse right alongside mine. Ellie, let's race. I was just about to shake my head no when, in an instant, Cassian flashed a mischievous grin and slapped my horse hard on its rump. The horse neighed loudly and shot forward like an arrow. I let out a terrified scream, instinctively ducking low and clinging tightly to the horse's neck. The scenery on both sides blurred and rushed backward. At first, I was overcome with fear, but the spring breeze in the countryside today was exceptionally gentle, carrying the faint scent of wildflowers and grass. Gradually, my fear dissolved, replaced by a strange and wonderful feeling welling up inside me. It was a feeling of pure freedom, of exhilarating openness, a feeling that made me want to shout, to cry, and to laugh heartily at the open sky. A shout was building in my throat, ready to burst out. I tried to hold it back, but in the next second, Cassian's unrestrained laughter rang out from behind me. Woohoo, this is incredible, father. Sing that song from the northwest for us. I love hearing you sing. Our father laughed, too, while scolding, you little monkey, you have none of the graces of a young lady. If you fall and cause Ellie to get hurt, just see if I don't give you a thrashing. But even as he scolded, he cleared his throat and, sure enough, began to sing in a booming voice. First, we seize the 12 prefectures of Xianxia, no division twixt general and soldier. Look back, the pass is level with my saddle. Soon we'll see the Yellow River flow north. Heaven's might rolls the earth, 10,000 lie across the Yellow River. The Qiang people sing the songs of hand. His voice was resonant and heroic, drifting far across the endless, wild plains. Arriving at the barracks, father went off to handle his military affairs, while Cassian pulled me along, wandering around and acting secretive, as if we were engaged in some shady business. What do you think of that one over there, Ellie? He has long legs. Oh, look over there. His waist. It's so trim. Mother told me that your future happiness It all depends on a man's waist. My face flushed crimson, and I instinctively clapped my hand over her mouth. Vivi, are you insane? You can't just say things like that. Cassian calmly pried my hand away. Ellie, I'm serious. Mother taught me these important things, and you need to listen carefully. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Don't worry, if there's anything you don't understand, you can just ask me. Staring at her perfectly blunt and matter-of-fact expression, I truly couldn't understand. How could the Lin family parents indulge her to this degree? Allowing her to ride horses, to brawl with a man in the public courtroom, to wear men's clothes and come and go from a military barracks. With a reputation like that, who would ever dare to marry her? Do you not care about your reputation at all? The moment I asked, Cassian lost her patience and rolled her eyes. Oh, please, don't start with that nonsense. Men who care deeply about that kind of reputation will naturally marry those prim and proper ladies. As for people like us, we'll find men who don't care about those things. Take our family, for example. We're not hung up on how a daughter is supposed to act, and we're not strict about those rules. Wouldn't it be better to marry into a family like that anyway? I was silent for a long moment, then countered, but all the high-ranking, prestigious families care about a woman's reputation. Then just don't marry into a high-ranking family. Oh, look, someone's bathing. In the northeast corner of the barracks, there was a small river, its banks lined with several large, leafy trees. Quick as a flash, Cassian pushed me down to the ground. We both hid behind a single tree trunk, secretly peeking our heads out to look toward the river. I only needed one glance to understand what was happening, and my face immediately flushed hot all the way to my ears. Why are we hiding here watching a man bathe? Cassian's face was bright with excitement. If we don't look, how will we know what kind of physique he has? Look, his clothes are on the bank. That crimson robe, oh, it's our lucky day. That's a third-rank officer's uniform. The man in the water, it's Victor. Cassian's eyes instantly widened. In the water, Victor had broad shoulders and a narrow waist. His skin was pale and smooth like jade, and his abdomen was clearly defined with 8-pack abs. His entire body was a perfect combination of raw power and aesthetic beauty. I couldn't help but stare, my own eyes wide. We can't look. This is improper. We must not look. And why not? The coward spied on the 7th fairy maiden bathing, and he even stole her clothes. We're just looking. We're not taking anything. It's not the same. He's a man, and we are. No. When a man peeks at a woman bathing, it's celebrated as a romance destined by the heavens. So what's the big deal if a woman looks at a man? Cassian said this with such casual confidence, but her voice was a little too loud. In the water, Victor suddenly whipped his head around toward us. Who's there? We're busted. Run! Cassian yanked the brim of her cap down, grabbed my hand, and took off. We sprinted, our riding boots rustling against the grass. We ran for a long distance, and only when we were certain that no one was chasing us did I let go of her hand and flop onto the ground, forgetting all about my dignity. We looked at each other and suddenly burst into laughter. Cassian collapsed onto the grass, howling with amusement. Ha, that was so thrilling. I copied her, lying back on the grass and folding one arm behind my head. The sky was high, the clouds were low, and the world felt vast and endless. I suddenly felt that living like this, it wasn't so bad. In the very next second, a shadow fell over my eyes. A cold, steel longsword was pressed directly against my throat. Victor was staring down at me, his gaze ice cold. Cassian immediately jumped up from the ground, ready to fight, but when she clearly saw Victor's face, she was so terrified she fell to her knees. Commandant, it was me. I was the one who spied on you bathing. This has nothing to do with my sister. Please spare her. If you want to kill or cut someone, just aim for me. Hearing Cassian's confession, Victor paused. Woman, it was you. His expression turned thunderous. What fine daughters General Lin has raised. Cassian was about to retort, but I quickly dug my nails into the back of her hand. When I lifted my head to look at him, my eyes were already filled with tears. You might as well kill me, sir. I cannot live much longer anyway. Aiden has utterly destroyed my reputation. There is no place left for me in Tong County. I only came to the barracks today to secretly say goodbye to my father. I never intended to spy on you. My voice was low, my gaze vacant, as if I had completely resigned myself to fate. My stepmother. She has already prepared a carriage. In just a few hours, she will send me away to her maiden home in Qingzhou, to force me into a temple to live as a nun, to end my life in desolation. Victor froze, then slowly sheathed his sword. Ridiculous. Just because of a few words from Aiden, you must go and become a nun. I let out a bitter laugh as tears streamed down my cheeks. The world has always been cruel to women. Surely, Commandant, you must understand that. Victor's brow furrowed. I saw General Lin with you and your sister the other day. He seemed very gentle. I doubt he is the sort of archaic man to do such a thing. Commandant, I am only a concubine-born daughter. I choked on the words, dropping my gaze in despair. Alice, you are a favored son of heaven, born to nobility. How could you possibly understand the suffering of someone as lowly as me? Please, just kill me. I only beg that you do not let this matter bring blame upon my father. Utterly ridiculous. Victor gave a cold huff. Then, I heard his footsteps walking away. When I opened my eyes again, he was gone. Cassian stared at me, her face a mask of astonishment. Mother was sending you to Qingzhou? I was still dazed myself. No, but if I didn't say that, how else would we get the commandant to let us go? Cassian's eyes grew impossibly wide. She pointed a finger straight at me. You tricked him. You're horrible. You're acting. It was so real you even fooled me. Ellie, you are truly incredible. Cassian clapped her hands gleefully in appreciation. We wandered around the edge of the barracks for a while longer, not heading back until sunset. Father returned home unusually late that evening. The moment he entered, he let out a long sigh and grumbled. I have no idea how I offended that demon, Victor, today. He lost his temper at me for no reason at all and ordered me to recite the military code. I only hesitated for a moment, and he immediately punished me by ordering me to copy the military regulations 100 times, to be submitted within half a month. Cassian and I shot each other a quick glance, then immediately looked away, both feeling a pang of guilt. Sorry, Father. This is a burden only you can bear. The days passed by, leisurely and peacefully. I still hadn't found a path back to the capital, but my heart was no longer anxious. Every day, Father brought home various pastries and delicious foods for us. Mother enjoyed taking my sister and me out for strolls around town. And Cassian, whenever she was free, would drag me out riding, racing wildly through the mountains and forests, laughing and shouting until we were exhausted. The servants in our manor, while not strictly disciplined, always greeted us with bright, genuine smiles. Cassian once explained that they were all family members of soldiers who had died serving under Father in the Northwest. Because of this, Father treated them with great generosity and didn't enforce harsh rules. Spring was vibrant, bursting with life. Flowers bloomed all over the courtyard, and the air seemed to be filled with the sweet fragrance of honey. I had almost forgotten my burning desire to return to the capital. That is, until I received a note. Aiden wanted to meet me on the back mountain. That day, a light rain was falling. I held an oiled, paper umbrella, lifting my skirts as I walked. Aiden was already waiting in the pavilion. He strode toward me, a confident smile on his face. Ellie, I knew you would come. My expression remained cold. Master Fu, why have you not yet returned to the capital to assume your post? Aiden sighed, clasping his hands behind his back as he walked to the gallows edge of the pavilion to watch the rain fall. I will be leaving tomorrow. Ellie, are you still angry with me about what happened last time? I won't hide the truth from you. It was all Cassian. She manipulated me. She told me that you were just a concubine's daughter and that you would hinder my future. I was foolish for a moment and actually believed her. But the words you spoke at the Yamen that day, I remember every single one. I understand your heart and your devotion to me. It was all my fault. Aiden suddenly turned back to me, his gaze full of deep emotion. Fortunately, it's not too late. Ellie, I can take you back to the capital with me. I just need you to help me with one small thing. And what is that? Aiden took my hand, his smile confident. Tomorrow, I need you to invite Cassian to a flower boat on Yuxian Lake. Once on the boat, you just need to tie a red silk ribbon to the side and put this powder into her drink. He leaned close to my ear and whispered, Cassian destroyed our engagement. How could I possibly let her get away with that? Does she think she can walk all over people just because she's the legitimate daughter? Ellie, you are my treasure. Anyone who dares to bully you, I will absolutely not let them go unpunished. When he saw my cold, silent expression, Aiden quickly corrected himself. Of course, this is just a small lesson. How far it goes, that will be completely up to you. A radiant smile bloomed on my face, and I threw myself into his arms. Oh Aiden, I knew you were the only one who truly cared for me. After returning to the manor, I immediately sent someone to dig up information on Aiden. It was only then I learned that his appointment to the Hanlin Academy had hit a snag. By convention, within half a month of the Palace examination results being announced. Aiden should have received his official letter of appointment. However, it had now been almost a month, and there was still complete silence from the capital. Aiden was growing anxious and had recently been spending a lot of time with Magistrate Chen's visiting cousin. Which cousin? My maid asked, scratching her head. I only heard his surname is Meng. Understanding dawned on me immediately. Others might not know, but I knew. Meng Ting was an imperial censor, and the annual performance evaluation of new scholars was his direct responsibility. Furthermore, Meng Ting's mother had 2 sisters, one of whom was said to have married into Tong County. I never expected Magistrate Chen to have such a connection to the Meng family. Aiden wanted me to drug Cassian. Could it be because that Mr. Meng had his eye on her? A strange fire ignited in my heart. I immediately sent my servants to make the arrangements. The next day, I dressed carefully and personally led Cassian to Yuxian Lake. We sat in a decorated flower boat, drinking tea and eating pastries. Cassian was having a wonderful time, happily leaning out the window to look at the scenery. Suddenly, she quickly pulled her head back inside. Oh no. Why is he here? Ellie, quick, hide. I looked up, and my own face turned pale. I never expected to run into Victor. Just a few days ago, I told him I was being sent away to Qingzhou. If he catches me enjoying a boat ride on the lake, all my lies will be exposed. It's alright. I think he's drunk, Cassian whispered reassuringly. I peeked my head out. True enough, I saw Victor sitting alone on the deck of his boat, clutching a wine jug, seemingly lost in thought. My mind spun rapidly, and a plan instantly formed. I signaled our boatmen to steer us closer to Victor's boat. Yuxian Lake was always bustling in the spring, and with the beautiful weather, the water was crowded with flower boats. As we pulled alongside, Victor only gave us a lazy, indifferent glance. Taking advantage of his distraction, Cassian stealthily reached out her hand and deftly tied the red silk ribbon to the railing of Victor's boat. Victor stumbled back into his cabin. His boatman, as if he had been instructed, just kept his head bowed back and focused on rowing, never once looking back. A moment later, another boat approached Victor's. The curtain was pulled back and a short, thin man stepped out. He had hollow cheeks and dark, bruised-looking circles under his eyes. The moment Cassian saw him, she wrinkled her nose in disgust. It's him. That's the cousin from Magistrate Chen's house. When he first arrived in the county, he said some vulgar things to me, so I beat him up for it. The 2 boats drew closer and closer. Suddenly, the cousin crouched and leaped nimbly onto Victor's boat. His movements were surprisingly agile, suggesting he had some martial arts training. He gave a sinister smirk, pushed open the cabin door, and stepped inside. The very next instant, an enraged roar erupted from the cabin, followed by the crash of a table being overturned. The entire boat rocked violently. A moment later, a figure came tumbling out of the window and splashed directly into the lake. Conveniently, as he fell, his flailing arms and legs caught the red silk ribbon, tearing it clean off the boat. Just like that, there was no way to blame this on us. It seemed even the heavens were on our side. Victor stormed out of the cabin, his gaze murderous. Pull him out. Break his limbs first, then bring him back for interrogation. The boatman immediately tossed his pole and dove straight into the water. Meanwhile, the servants on the cousin's boat were in a panic, shouting, "Help! Our young master fell in the water. Save him." From the shore, we heard the sound of approaching hoofbeats. Cassian and I knew we had caused a disaster. We didn't dare stick around. We used the chaos to make our escape and hurried straight home. By nightfall, the incident at the lake had spread like wildfire throughout Tong County. Mother kept clutching her heart and sighing dramatically. Oh, heavens, may the Bodhisattva protect us. Who in this world could be so audacious? Victor is a living king of hell. Instead of staying far away, someone actually tried to molest him. They must be insane. Truly, unbelievably insane. We heard that Victor had led his soldiers and surrounded the county Yemen. That cousin Mr. Meng was scared out of his wits and immediately confessed, implicating Aiden. I was on edge for days, terrified that Victor would discover our involvement and come to settle the score. But several days passed, and nothing happened. It wasn't until father returned home from the barracks that I found out Victor had already departed for the capital. I let out a massive sigh of relief. He must have assumed that Mr. Meng had simply targeted the wrong boat. With Victor taking action, Aiden's official career was as good as over. Now that the county had a much juicier scandal to discuss, my own small incident was naturally forgotten. Besides, people reasoned that if Mr. Meng was audacious enough to make a move on Victor, then Aiden, who associated with him daily, Couldn't be a decent person either. The malicious rumors about me quickly faded, as if they had never existed in the first place. Cassian and I returned to our days of roaming the streets and riding through the mountains, living a carefree and happy life. I even took to imitating her, lying in a field with a piece of grass sticking out of my mouth and my legs crossed. Ugh, I suddenly feel so aimless, so empty. Cassian turned her head to look at me. Aimless? You had a goal. Of course, I was planning to return to the capital, ideally, back to the palace. The palace? What for? To become the empress? Ha! It's not that easy. Even becoming a concubine with a decent rank is already a great achievement. As a high-ranking concubine, you get to use the finest cosmetics, wear rare perfumes like ambergris, and have your own courtyard filled with flowering crabapple trees. Your food, your clothes, everything is the absolute best. Cassian snorted disdainfully. Can a concubine ride a horse whenever she wants? No. Can a concubine drink wine freely? No. Is the mutton in the palace anywhere near as delicious as old Manly's roasted lamb leg right here in our county? Probably not. So, would you be as happy as you are right now? I was speechless. Probably not. Cassian concluded decisively. Then that goal of yours is just ridiculous. I burst out laughing. I suppressed the last kernel of unease in my heart, smiled, and took Cassian's hand. Then let's just keep being happy like this. At that exact moment, a deep, slightly tired male voice spoke right next to my ear. Oh, and just how happy is that? I whipped my head around, only to see Victor squatting right beside me, his gaze fixed intently on me. I let out a piercing shriek, grabbed Cassian's hand, and we fled. Victor didn't move, a deeply knowing smirk playing on his lips. Epilogue that time. It was truly a stroke of bad luck. The Empress Dowager had, without any warning, decided to vacation at the Imperial Gardens outside the capital. Word was that the Empress had angered her. Those two had been locked in a power struggle for years. My own mother was a distant relative of the Empress Dowager. The moment the Empress Dowager was gone, the Empress targeted me to vent her fury. I was forced to drink copious amounts of wine, and then, on some flimsy pretext, I was punished to kneel in the Imperial Garden. The autumn air was bitingly cold. A chilling rain drizzled down, and the cold seeped straight into my bones. The strong wine and the freezing rain clashed inside me, and I began to shiver uncontrollably. Suddenly, an umbrella softly shielded my head from the rain. These crabapple blossoms are lovely. I must pick some to bring back. Noble consort Gao, that person is being punished by Her Majesty the Empress. We shouldn't get involved. I am picking my flowers. What business is that of that person? The woman's voice replied stubbornly. I looked up and saw the umbrella was angled to cover me completely. A small warmth blossomed in my chest. In this vicious, deep palace, it was so rare to find someone willing to protect another person like this. Your Highness, please, you must return. I am fine. How absurd. I am picking my flowers. Why should I listen to you? The umbrella tilted slightly, revealing a delicate and beautiful face. She appeared soft, but her eyes held a fierce resolve. I don't remember how long the rain lasted that day. I only remember the sweet fragrance of the crabapple blossoms that lingered in the air. After that, I often discreetly asked for news of her. I watched silently as she climbed, step by step, through the ranks of the imperial consorts. But each time I saw her, she seemed to have lost a little more of the radiance she had that day, replaced by the same practiced, elegant composure as every other woman in the palace. When I finally heard the news of her death, I wasn't even sure what I felt. In this deep, dark palace, perhaps death wasn't the worst outcome after all. This story redefines sweet love as the fierce, unconditional loyalty of family. The heroine, Alara, believed strength was about calculation and survival, just as she did in the palace. However, she discovers true liberation not through revenge, but through the chaotic, unwavering protection of her sister Cassian. The most profound lesson is that true happiness isn't status, it's the freedom to laugh, to ride fast, and to have a family that values you over reputation. The story ends here for now. If it touched your heart or left you thinking, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please like, subscribe,